This is the moment where you got the ranty old guy saying that everything is wrong. It's also after Loki, I'm the second German on stage. And I just want to talk about the world that we have right now with AI and what it means to us as people that have fought for openness for a long, long time. Now, this here is a submarine, and this is actually the submarine U-1206 in 14th of April, 1945. At that time, it was the state-of-the-art submarine. Amazing, really, really good. And it was, just commissioned 2 days ago, and it was 8 days before the end of the European part of the Second World War. Currently, it's 70 meters deep up here in Scotland. It's impressive that a submarine can stay submerged that long, but it's actually aided by lots of bullet holes from aircraft. That's why it's down there. Why this was such a unique submarine and such a great thing to have is that it had a toilet facility that could flush. Before that, submarines had septic tanks. That means they had to ascend and get rid of the things, and that means they were vulnerable to aircraft. So they could now stay underwater the whole time because it would flush out into the ocean. This is Captain Karl Adolf Schlitt, and you can't make that up. And he was basically the first one to use that facility. He ran into a problem. You could say he couldn't get rid of his captain's log. It just didn't flush. So as always, when something like that happens, he asked an engineer to help him when things go wrong like that way. The engineer said, okay, it's probably the valve in the wall that wasn't opened. So you see those up there, supply valve and reducing valve. And he opened the wrong one and flushed the whole room with water and other bits and bobs. That would have been bad and embarrassing enough, but actually the facilities were above the batteries of the submarine. The water and the other things went on them, and gas came out, and basically they had to emergency ascend and immediately got spotted by aircraft and sunk. 3 people dead, 46 people in custody. And that was basically the maiden voyage of that submarine sunk by flushing a toilet, or not flushing a toilet. The learning that we have from that is that using state-of-the-art technology to get rid of shit. Using state-of-the-art technology to release your shit as fast as possible into the world is not a good idea, especially when people handling that technology have not been properly trained on it. What do we call that? Vibe coding. Vibe coding and people being AI experts, and that brings me to those 2 people. MacArthur Wheeler and Clifton Earl Johnson, that sounds great names, were basically robbing 2 banks on January 6, 1995. It was really bizarre because they made no effort to try to conceal themselves or put a mask on or something like that. They were actually looking into the cameras and just being very posh about it and, oh, look, we're robbers here. It was the easiest way for the police ever to find a bank robber. Turns out that mastermind Clifton Earl Johnson here realized that you can use lemon juice to write on paper, and it's not readable unless you put a fire behind it and then it becomes readable. So they covered their faces in lemon juice, and he convinced the other one that they're going to be invisible on the camera because of that. Their research was taking a picture with a Polaroid camera and him showing it oh, he's not visible on that picture because the camera was broken. But they both went fully confident into the bank, said we're invisible, yay, just got lemon juice on their face. That impressed those 2 people, Dunning and Kruger, and they're psychologists, and they actually did research on people. They asked people to make an assessment of how good they are at some things, and then tested them on those things. Driving a car, DIY, putting the washing up, these kind of things, and turned out that the people that said that they're best at something were the worst at doing it. And that's the Dunning-Kruger effect, and that's actually on Wikipedia as well. And it basically means that like a cognitive bias where people with little expertise or ability assume they have superior expertise. The overestimation occurs as a result of the fact that they don't have enough knowledge or they don't know that they don't have enough knowledge. Basically, all the people that are the AI experts on LinkedIn that actually have been promoted to watch on your newsfeed. And this, to me, is actually all the interactions that we have with AI right now. We digitized that. LLMs are actually atrocious at giving us wrong answers, and then just basically saying, yeah, but that's actually not, you go to an LLM like, that's wrong. You're totally right, that is so wrong, sorry about that. Yeah, waste my time, how about that? So we made this the interaction that we have right now, and this is the opposite of imposter syndrome. So this is basically what we did. That's why a lot of people are now thinking they know much more, or are artists or are filmmakers because they use AI. Which is, of course, AI is terribly useful, and it's here to stay. We're not going to get rid of it anymore, and it's good because we started in the 50s with machine learning and in the 60s, 70s, and we finally have the place there. But the way AI is sold and applied right now is the antithesis of open. And I'm going to go into that deeper later on in my talk in the afternoon. But when you think about, for example, chat systems and research helpers, to me they're actually unsolicited scraping and serving bots serving bots. I've had a blog since 2006, and I see a lot of content coming up in LLMs, and I had no idea where it came from. I cannot block these things, really, really annoying. AI-aided development is basically subscription in disguise. The amount of developers that I know right now that cannot work any longer if ChatGPT is down, you're actually paying to become a developer, and that's why I never did Java. I came for JavaScript, you know? I never wanted to do that. AI overviews instead of search results, that's basically the truth according to company X. Not X, the company, but company X as a variable here. So it's a bit like hitting I feel lucky every single time, and then the thing telling you something random. Vibe coding in production is basically dubious and insecure legacy code, and AI and image generation is basically expensive and faux creativity without knowing where the contribution came from or giving credit to the people who did it. Agents browsing and buying things is basically a malware creator's wet dream. I worked on Firefox, I worked on Edge, we tried to make the thing secure, now everybody is like, oh, let the machine have my credit card and go out there. Do you do that with your kids? No, so don't do it with our agent either. So we protected the web from corporate takeover before, and we need to do this again. AI can make us more efficient, definitely, but it actually cannot make us experts in bloody everything because the machine tells us to. So let's show the world that actually the power, the love, and the dedication that we put into open can actually make AI an efficient thing rather than a thing that is just telling us, you're an expert now, Harry, or whatever. That's not really it. Let's show the world how we can, let's show the world what we can do with that, and I'm going to talk about that in more detail later. Because it is the next form of human interaction with computers. But I don't think we're going to have a Jarvis or a Star Trek computer, please do this anytime soon. And we have to stop telling people that everything is magic. If there's one thing I hate about Apple is that it started telling people, this is magical, don't think about it. No, think about it. Find out when the screws are off. Don't flush things when they shouldn't be flushed. And yeah, more on that later. And that's all from me. Thank you very much.